Hello everyone, Professor Toybox here along with Donald Duck, and today we're going to start building the Duckburg toy box that I showed you last time. My design for this toy box is based on the 1980s DuckTales cartoon. Here are some screenshots of Duckburg from the TV show. As you can see, Scrooge's mansion is built on a hill in the foreground, and the money bin is on a hill in the opposite side of town. To the left of the money bin, you can see a lighthouse in the distance, which looks like it's built at the end of a point. There's also a suspension bridge that crosses the bay to what looks like an island or a peninsula. In this picture, the bridge looks like it's on the far edge of town, but then there's this screenshot from the DuckTales remastered game, which makes it look like the bridge is closer to Scrooge's mansion. So I decided to add two bridges into my toy box. That makes it easier to connect the roads in a loop so we can race around the toy box. When you look at some of the close-up shots of the city, you can see that the streets appear to be made of brown cobblestone, lined with concrete sidewalks. The buildings are cartoonish, as you would expect, which means we don't want to use any of the realistic buildings from the Marvel playsets, so we're going to use the buildings from The Incredibles instead. So as we get started here, we'll go ahead and put down a sky changer. And I'm going to put down a boom box as well. And I'm starting with a brand new toy box because I know some of you are still kind of new to building in the toy box, and it's helpful for you to see how to start right from the beginning. So on the sky changer, I'm in Spark mode. I'm going into the logic menu, opening up properties, and going into sky. And I'm going to use the Incredibles city sky from Disney Infinity 1.0. That would be the Metroville sky. And I'll come over here to the boom box and turn off the music. That way you can hear me a little better. Okay, and then for now, we'll go ahead and move these underneath the terrain, just to get them out of the way. I'll have to move these again before I'm done, but that's all right. And for right now, I'm going to set the terrain texture to be the Metroville cityscape, and I'm going to set that to be my theme. And I'm not going to keep this terrain block, but we're going to use it to start building off from. And I'd like this oriented so that the bay is out that way. Actually over that way. And so the bridges are going to extend from town in this direction, which means the city is going to be over in that direction. And that's kind of consistent with the sky that we've got here. So what I want to do first is block in the terrain. This will be the foundation that the city is going to rest on. And I had this set up on the block that I was going to use, but it reset the drawer on me. And I want to use these thinner blocks. They're the same size, length, and width-wise as the one we've got already, but it's a little bit thinner, which I think will look better. And so we're going to start by building off this direction. And I'm going to go 1. There we go, 2. And then a half a block. And for this, let's see, we're going to go over 4. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. As you saw in the first video in this series, this is a massive toy box. My goal today is to block in most of the terrain and put the roads in, and maybe add a few of the key buildings. And we're going to go ahead and add one more half block off this direction, like that. Oops. And then that's the one I want. And I'm going to put that one in like so. And then we'll come out over here, and this is going to be the foundation of Kill Motor Hill, where the money bin stands. And I kind of want to make sure that's all pointed the same direction. Let me think here. Is that the same pattern? It's got turned around a little bit. Oh, because that's a different block. Sorry, spaced out. Let's come back over here. This is the same type of block, so this way we can make sure. There we go. Okay, so the money bin is going to stand on a hill right over here. And now I'm going to come over and take this block out. And we're going to divide this section up a little bit. So I'm going to put down this quarter size block right here. And I need to move this little piece. For right now, we'll just stick this right over here. Get that out of the way. Then we'll come down to the next size smaller. And I'm going to put in 2 of those. And what I'm doing is carving up space for the cobblestone for the streets. And so we come over here, we can grab this. We can put this down and change the texture. And for this, the best match for the cobblestone streets that I've seen is the toy box terrain. This looks pretty close to what you see in DuckTales for the town streets. And this is going to be the road that heads up to the money bin in that direction. Now, to help hide this seam, this is where I'm going to place the toy box road. So we're going to come to the racetrack pieces, and the racetrack pieces are exactly 4 blocks wide, so I think that will do pretty well. Let me just double check the length here on this. Yep. So we'll use the longest possible one, and I'm going to make sure it's centered underneath that divide. And that way, that covers up that seam kind of nicely. And for the road texture, we're going to use the Incredibles road again. And I'm going to set that to be my theme. That matches the bridges, the San Francisco bridges that we're going to use. And it matches the toy box pretty well. And since we're going to go ahead and make a racetrack out of this, I'm going to go ahead and set it up so we race starting off over the bridge. Like that. And I'm going to stick a little section back here. Like this. And another one like that. And that covers up that seam pretty good. And then we'll come back to the terrain drawer and continue building this side of the toy box for right now. I want to make sure this is lined up with the edge of that. And like so. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and then fill in this back section as well. This is where the city is going to go. And the nice thing is, by changing the block texture and using that for the streets, that doesn't cost us any memory. So that's really good. All right, so that's looking nice. Let's go ahead and drop the bridge in, and then we can build the opposite side of the bay, and we'll find this up under Building Sets Group 2. If we scroll left, there it is right there. And this, coincidentally, is exactly the width of that large block, which is sweet. Because that makes it very easy to measure all of this. And I'm going to put 2 of these across, like that. And then we'll come back down to the terrain drawer. And I want to line this block up with this one and carry it all the way across here. And we're going to change this back to the grass texture. Like that. So as you can see, we're kind of blocking in the toy box here. Oh, that's so annoying. There we go. And now we've got this half of this bay done. And then we'll need the bridge over here. And to make sure I measure this out a little bit, because I don't have a seam over here that I can use, I'm going to drop just a couple of quick blocks for measuring. And I'm going by what's on the floor plan that you'll find on my blog. So this is 6. This is a 2 block wide and a 2 block wide. And so the road needs to line up right along the edge of that. So just like so. And now we can go ahead and take those back out. And we'll go ahead and put the bridge in. It might have been faster to scroll the other direction. All right. That's looking pretty good. Okay, I'm liking this. All right. Now the road is going to kind of determine where those hills go. So let's go ahead and put the rest of the road in. We're going to need some of these curved pieces. We're going to put one in like this. This will also determine where the buildings go, which is important. And I'll just drop that for the moment till we get the straight section in here so we can see where it lines up. That was pretty close. That's looking good. I had a lot of fun designing and building this toy box. The first thing I had to do was get out my DuckTales DVDs and watch them. That was strictly for research purposes, of course. But it was fun to watch them again. I hadn't done that for a while. I enjoyed seeing some of my favorite episodes again and watching Scrooge and Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and Gyro and Launchpad and all the rest. I was reminded just how good a show that was. All of the Disney afternoon shows in the 80s were pretty good. Gummy Bears and Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck. Great stuff. We want to make sure we connect all of the loose ends of this road so that there's no gaps and it all touches. There we go. So now we have the road running around the toy box, and you can see the shape of the toy box is starting to come together. That's looking good. I'm going to go ahead and fill this section in now over here while I'm right here. Those shows gave me a lot of inspiration for the little mini stories that I put in here as well. Of course, I had to have the Beagle Boys, but I was surprised how many times Black Pete showed up, or Peg Leg Pete, or whatever they called him in any given week. And I'm basically putting this section in to make room for the water slide to sit over here. Puts a nice little finishing corner on this edge of it over here. And it also provides a place to put the water slide so that it's not hanging off of the edge of the terrain. There we are. Oops, I'm going to go that way. Whoa! What was that? Just kind of threw me out away from the block there. Yep, that's the one. And just so that it's not identical on either side, that kind of breaks it up a little bit. And this puts a nice finishing edge on this that will look good from the other side of the toy box, which I think is helpful. I also read through some of my old comic books for Uncle Scrooge and Donald Duck, trying to come up with some additional ideas for the toy box. If you've never read the old Donald Duck and Uncle Scrooge comics by Carl Barks, I highly recommend them. The stories are fabulous. He was a gifted storyteller and a pretty good artist. There. That looks pretty good. Now let's work on this section. And everything is pretty much here going to key off of this road. And so as this road goes up the hill, we're going to kind of build the hill around this. And one thing, though, we can do is put the point out here, I guess, before we switch the terrain texture. That might be helpful to do. And just so I don't have to scroll back over there. for the other side of that drawer. We'll do that. And I will scroll this time because it'll take longer just to go to the other side of the toy box there. Alright, so that gives us a nice finish there. And that'll be the point where the lighthouse sits. And I'm not too worried about the back side of that edge. So we'll do it like that. Alright, so there's where the lighthouse will sit. Now let's work on Kill Motor Hill. And for this, we're going to need, let's see, we'll come down and select this. That'll get us halfway back to where we need to be. We're going to need this thin texture right here. And I'm going to set that to be the terrain. The road terrain. There. And then I'm going to change this back to the grass. And we'll build the hill around this. Alright, so we need a nice flat area for the money bin to sit on top of. So we'll put that one in. And then, let's see, for this next area over here, I don't really want to just drop that block down because I want the tunnel that the Beagle Boys dig to be in here. So we're going to split this area up into some smaller sections to make room for that. So we've got that. And we've got that. And now we'll go ahead and build the hill around this. And this will be the neighboring hill over here. And I could have left this flat, but I wanted to add a few more hills in here. Because as you saw from the screenshots, it's kind of hilly on this side of the toy box. There we are. That just gives a nice little border over here. Kind of break things up a little bit. Now we need the tunnel. Actually, we need the cliff wall over here too. And I'm not actually going to put this one in just yet. I think what we'll do, let's see, I don't believe any of these are going to fit. Yeah, I don't want to do that. So we'll put this one in here. And I'm going to leave space for this, which I'm going to put in later with a replayer. There, so that'll be the tunnel Beagle Boys dig. And for that, we can use the tunnel pieces over here. Like that. That's the tunnel that they dig under the money bin. And then the money bin will sit right up here on top. And we'll find that under the set pieces. Actually, I just saw the lighthouse. Might as well go ahead and drop that too while we're right here. I'm going to put this out and try to cover up that seam a little bit there. Like that. And we got to have the money bin, because that's the iconic feature of Duckburg. And what I want to do is try to cover up some of these seams and make it look like that road goes right up to the money bin. So there we go. So it's a little side road off of this main road that goes right up there. And that's really nice. And we're starting to run a little bit low on time here, so I think what I'll do is I'll save that side of the toy box for a later date when we put in Scrooge's Mansion later. And we'll go ahead and end it here for right now for today. So now that we've laid the framework for the toy box, we're ready to start building the city itself, and that'll be sitting right over here, but we'll do that next time. Until then, I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you're excited about this new toy box and this series. It's nice to have a toy box specifically for Donald to play in, and I can't think of a more perfect setting. If you haven't already signed up on my blog or subscribed to my channel, I encourage you to do so. That way you won't miss a single episode. And if you want to build this toy box on your own, don't forget to visit my blog, where you'll find floor plans and logic diagrams to help you out. Thanks again for spending some time with me today, and I'll see you next time.